And the Stanley Cup champions are the Ottawa Senators. They beat the Winnipeg Jets in 6 games in an all-Canadian Stanley Cup final. And so with that, the Year 6 offseason is now underway. Here's the list of players who will not be returning. You have Gravel, Barbashev, Rafferty, and Seguin. I don't know about Wolf yet because he was decent enough, I suppose. He had a .908 save percentage. However, I don't know how I feel about him getting 50 games over Ivanov, considering Ivanov performed better than him, and he got fewer games. He also has better ability, he has more potential, and he's 3 years younger. So I really don't know what Rob Brindamore was thinking there, but as a result of his overusage of Dustin Wolf, I don't know if I want to re-sign him. He's asking for $3 million for 3 years. I mean, we could afford it for sure. We don't necessarily have a salary cap problem. Actually, who has an extension that's making significantly more money going to next season? Lekarimaki, Peter, Lodnia, he's making $5 million next year. Liljegren making $4 million next year. Actually, we might be cutting it close. We're already at $71 million for salary. Then again, we are unloading Seguin, who is currently at 6.4. So I don't think we'll be that close to the cap ceiling, but I don't know how I feel about giving $3 million to Dustin Wolf, who should be a backup goaltender, because you have Ivanov making $5 million next year. And I really, really do not want what happened this year between him and Wolf to happen again once Ivanov starts making that much money. And it's not like he was that good. I mean, like I said, he wasn't bad by any means. He just wasn't good enough to the point where I would accept him starting 50 games a season, at least not over Ivanov. So I think we're going to release Wolf. We'll see what's out there as far as backup goaltenders go. Probably some 2-star goaltender at best, but you know what? It's better than having some sort of goaltender controversy that shouldn't even exist. And actually, while I'm thinking of it, we may as well go over the player stats in detail. Went over them briefly at the end of the last one, but didn't really go throughout the whole roster. So Jaeger led the way with 82 points in 80 games, and as I mentioned in the last one, no player played a full season this year. That's how injury-riddled we were. It was actually kind of ridiculous how many injuries we got last year. Dominic Peter with 64 points in 68 games, 58 for Khmelevsky, 56 for Nemesnikov, 55 for Tuck. So as seen, we clearly did not have trouble scoring. Stenberg with 50 in 60 games, 44 for Lekarimaki, 42 for Liljegren, 36 for Eriksson, 35 for Zetterberg. So he had certainly a much better season than I was expecting him to, considering his first season. And then also considering the massive injury that he got that year. So that definitely hurt his development, but it's nice to see that he is supposedly back on track to where I thought he would be. Then you have Chychrun with 34 points, 31 for Ingram. So obviously Ingram didn't have as many points this year as he did last year. That could probably be attributed to less ice time given the rise of guys like Nemesnikov, Khmelevsky, Jaeger. I mean, there were some points where Ingram was actually on the fourth line, I remember. So 31 points for someone who usually splits time between the third and fourth line. I cannot complain about that at all. Brandon Saad with 29 points in 56 games. Kiviharju with 26, 25 for Fabro. Klee with 24, 21 in 34 games for Peterka. He got injured early on and did not come back until just recently. Then you have Juracek with 20 points in 23 games. So once again, another guy who was out for the majority of the season, but performed spectacularly in the games that he did play. So he is certainly a key part of our future. Then you have Odelius with 20 points in 65 games, 15 for Fascia in 50. Seguin with 11 in 46. So he slowed down significantly compared to the first, I believe, 15 or 16 games. He had 8 points. And then the next 30 games after that, like 3 total. So it's a good thing his contract has expired this year. Then you have Jonas Wu with 3 points in 17 games. And then we've already seen the goaltender situation. Oh, right. And Lodnia, who is still on the injury list. He had 61 points in 56 games. So he did phenomenal once again in the games that he was in. But he was yet another player who had quite a significant injury. He went down with a fractured elbow on February 16th. But he should be good to go for the start of next season. So actually, I'll take him off the injury list right now just so we could get a look at our whole roster. So we have 25 players and quite an abundance of forwards. Well, obviously, Sagan's going to be off. So that's 24 technically. And then Wolf is coming off, so that's going to be 23, but we do need another goaltender anyway. So we have 8 defensemen. I was thinking about possibly trading Fabro since he's 28. He's a defensive defenseman, and while we do definitely need defensive defensemen, Wu is more than likely going to fill his role. And he's better defensively for the most part than Fabro is already. I mean, Fabro is certainly more well-rounded, but Jonas Wu definitely has more potential in that regard, especially given that he's only 20 compared to 28. Juracek, he's not going anywhere. He is a fantastic defenseman as from what we've seen so far. Offensively, looks like he could be something special, especially if he gets that getting open rating up there and passing up there a little bit more. And even defensively, he's no slouch. So if there's one guy in the back end that we are keeping, it's David Juracek. Liljegren just signed to an extension. I would like to keep him around. He had 42 points last year, 44 the year before, so a consistent 40-point guy. Always good to have around. And then Vasia, he is listed as a defensive defenseman. Pretty good defensive category. Not much of a hitter, but otherwise pretty good defensively. At least according to his defensive ratings, he should be. And plus, he's only 22, so I would like to keep him around. Jacob Chychrun, he's obviously staying. First of all, he's got a big contract. And second, he's one of our stalwart veteran defensemen. He's a leader. He consistently has one of the best defensive grades on the team. He's not going anywhere. Then you have Kivi Harju, who looks to be pretty good offensively, at least according to his ratings, but he did have a bit of a down year this year compared to last season. Now, that might have just been as a result of decreased ice time, or maybe the fact that there are other capable offensive defensemen on the team, such as Liljegren and Juracek. So I'm not exactly sure where he fits in, but I would like to keep him, at least for the time being. So I think of these 8, Fabro is probably the most likely to go. Man, look at all these staff contracts. Looks like everyone expired this year. And here we go, awards time. For the Ted Lindsay, you have Connor McDavid. For the Art Ross, you have Sebastian Aho. He had 112 points on the season. The Maurice Richard goes to Dylan Larkin. The Lady Byng goes to Kyle Connor. The Bill Masterton goes to Connor McDavid. The Mark Messier Award goes to Zach Werenski. And the Jennings goes to Eric Portillo of Buffalo. And the Hart between McKinnon, McDavid, and Bedard, it goes to Connor McDavid. 95 points. And the Conn Smythe goes to Seamus Casey of Ottawa. 35 points in 21 games as a defenseman, I believe. Yeah. And the Calder between Gavin Garland, Parker Forlan, and Ivan Demidov goes to Gavin Garland of Philly. And the Norris between Hughes, Makar, and Dahlin goes to Rasmus Dahlin. 76 points for the Buffalo Sabres. And the Frank J. Selke between Horvat, Kokoniemi, and Ranta goes to Jesperi Kokoniemi. And the Vezina goes to Igor Shesterkin. The Executive of the Year between Alvin, Treliving, and Adams goes to Brad Treliving of Calgary. And the Jack Adams between Granado, Golutzan, and Alain Nasruddin, it goes to Alain Nasruddin of Vancouver. All right, so we're at the point where we need to sign some of our prospects who have contracts expiring, or rights expiring, I should say. Carter Klippenstein is one of the players who I will be signing, and everyone else with the rights expiring this year I will not be approaching, so that includes Vorak and Vilchinski. And that will be it as far as unsigned players go for right now. And here's our season summary. We did have a winning season, but we did not get any other positive category. We did fail to reach the playoffs, which means our total season score is 12. And total career score so far is 76. Okay, I think someone like Cal Peterson is exactly who I'm looking for a backup goaltender here. He only played 25 games for New York last year, .909 save percentage, 13 wins, 7 losses, 3 overtime losses, and a shutout. Pretty respectable performance, so he seems like he would be a decent backup goaltender. I will sign him to a 2-year contract and just give him what he wants. So that's taken care of. Now I think we're going to get Fabro on a trade here. Although I might wait till the draft for that. I'm not sure yet. All right, draft lottery time. So we're actually on here twice. We have our own pick, which is the last one right there. I would guess anyway, given that we were just barely outside the playoffs. And then this one, what pick is that? Who did we get that from? Dallas. So that was the first round pick that we got along with Sagan, who just recently retired actually, in the Swayman trade. Very nice. All right, so where will we be picking? Number 17 will be your Nova Scotia Supernovas, as expected. Number 16, Vancouver. 15, Columbus. 14, Washington. 13, Nashville, so Philly moves up. 12, you have Boston. 11, you have Tampa. 10, you have Vancouver. 9, your Nova Scotia Supernovas. At 8, you have Edmonton. 7, Seattle, so San Jose moves up. 6, you have Arizona. 5, you have Pittsburgh. 4, you have the Islanders. At number 3, you have at Philadelphia, and at number 1, San Jose. Honestly, I'm not too sure what I want out of this draft. I know for sure not centers. We have centers covered for basically the whole GM mode. I mean, we have Jaeger, Khmelevsky, Nemesnikov, Ingram, Erickson, not to mention Makarov, who's still in the AHL with a 2.5-star talent and a 3.5-star potential. I mean, we have centers for life. Wingers, I mean, we have plenty of those. I'm not too sure what exactly we need. I guess just best player available when it comes down to it. And if there's any defensemen who have a 4.5-star potential, I suppose I'd prioritize that. But besides that, I'm not really sure what exactly we would need out of this draft. I mean, we have most everything covered at this point. Now it's just about our team developing to their potential. That's really all there is left to it. But I suppose we'll use at least the 9th overall pick. I'm not sure what to do about the 17th, but we're definitely going to use Dallas's pick. So first overall will be Rudy Pruckapets to the San Jose Sharks. What's he about? 5-star potential, 1-star ability. Looks like he's going to take a little bit to get to the NHL, but he should be good once he gets there. 62 points last year in the NAHL. All right, so we're here at pick number 9. There are 2 3.5-star potentials available in Perry and Toffik, although we don't exactly need centers. So I suppose Flynn Perry could be our guy here. The save percentages aren't too bad. 944 save percentage in high school, 924 in the USHL. Could always take a 1.5-star ability with a 3-star potential, but we're not exactly in need of prospects who are close to being NHL ready. Not desperately anyway. Jan Brunner looks interesting, but we don't exactly need offensive defensemen. Yeah, I think I'll just take Flynn Perry here. I don't particularly need any of these guys up here. I mean, some of them do look interesting, like Sean Bailey. He could be NHL ready in the next couple of years, but like I said, we don't need any centers right now. Not even close. We have more centers than I even know what to do with at this point. So Flynn Perry, welcome to the team. I guess we'll take Jan Brunner now. He is the best player available in regards to not only potential, but ability as well. Because if you see the remaining players with 1.5-star ability, he is the highest potential. So he is the best player available. I'm just not sure where he would fit in. Okay, actually, I just got an idea. I think I want to use this first-round pick to facilitate a Fabro trade. Although as to where Fabro is going, I'm not sure yet. I think I want to take a look at some of the records that these teams have had last year. I want a team that, like, it would make sense for them to not only go after Fabro, but also a first-round pick. And then have them possibly give up, like, maybe a 4-star defenseman. And if we're getting a 4-star defenseman, I'd be willing to unload someone like Fascia as well. Because that's really where we struggled last year, was defensively. So I would like to get a defensive defenseman if possible. Seamus Casey's definitely not going to be for sale there, considering the year he just had. Provorov might be one that I want. Look at his grade for the past, basically every year of the simulation. It's up there in the 80s consistently. So not only is he getting points, but he's also playing phenomenally defensively. Yeah, look at that positioning: 18, hitting 14, checking 15. Basically everything that isn't offense on him is phenomenal. And even offense isn't bad at all. What's his contract looking like? 7.8 for 4 years. For the kind of simulator he is, that seems like it's worth it. He'll be 34 by then as well, so that's actually perfect. Now, would it make sense for Philly to give him up? I mean, they didn't make the playoffs this year. They did make it last year, but just barely. And I remember I believe we kicked them out of the playoffs last year. Yeah, if I can get Provorov, if I can manage a trade for Provorov, that would be phenomenal. I would definitely be willing to give up Fascia for this. So Fabro, Fascia, and a first. Yeah, they want way more. Yeah, this is gonna be quite a bit of value, but as long as it's reasonable, like, let's see, what else would I have to add here? Yeah, it's gotta be something pretty significant here. I think I'd be willing to give up Tomac. It doesn't seem like he'll really be much of an impact player anytime soon. I mean, he does have a phenomenal point total there with his current team in the Czech Republic, but I can't see that translating to the NHL level, not with his current ratings anyway. I mean, I've been wrong about players before, but for Provorov, this is a good deal. Can't add any more than 5 players or picks. What to do. I really want Provorov. He seems like he'd be perfect. Like, he is exactly what I'm looking for. I'd be willing to give up our first for next year as well. Okay, they would probably accept that. Should I do this? Should I do this? Fabro, Fascia, and 2 firsts. One for this year, one for next year for Ivan Provorov. I mean, there's no doubt he would have a significant impact. Where would he fit in our lineup? He would probably be on the first pair next to Mr. Yurichek. And then Chikrin would move down to the second with Liljegren or Kiviharju. Yeah, I like this. I mean, it seems risky because of the first round pick, but I'm not fussed over a first round pick anymore. At this point where we're at right now, I'm not fussed over a first round pick at all. I think it's worth it for someone like Provorov. So Fabro, Fascia, a first for this year and a first for next year for Ivan Provorov. Will it go through? Yes, indeed. Welcome to the team, Ivan Provorov. Wow, what a trade. That is, I would say that's probably the biggest trade we've made so far in this GM mode. Without a doubt. Welcome to the team, Ivan Provorov. So now here's what our defensive core is looking like. Provorov, Chikrin, Yurichek, Kiviharju, Liljegren, Odelius, and Wu. And actually, another good thing about that Provorov deal is that he's on the same length as Chikrin. Yeah, Provorov was perfect. He was exactly what we needed. I think that will be the push that we need to make the playoffs once again next year. And I think at this point, all we're waiting on is the decision of Peterson, which he should be signing with us momentarily. I mean, I don't see why not. We're still the top offer. So with that, I guess we'll finish up the draft here, but there's really not much else to do, I think, at this point. Yeah, it's already looking like a pretty thin draft here in the second round. There's Ron Paris. I mean, we may as well get another goaltender. And from that point on, there was basically nothing interesting, so the draft is now complete. I don't think I'll be signing any of them right away, besides maybe one of the goalies, because I believe we're currently only at 2 goaltenders. Yeah, we could use one of the goalies, maybe Ron Paris or Kaiturov, but besides that, I think we're good. Honestly, I think I may want to trade Bystedt here. He's 23, and he's a 2-star talent, so he could very well make the NHL roster. The problem is, he has 5 guys ahead of him in the NHL, and then not only that, but Nikita Makarov at the AHL level, who's a 2.5-star talent in the AHL still. If he was maybe Makarov's age, like only 20, then I would hold on to him, but he's 23 now. I want to give him a chance somewhere else where, he can actually have a chance. Here, not going to happen. So we're going to shop Philip Bystedt, see what we can get from him. So, wow. Not much. I mean, we can get another 23-year-old and a 7th-round pick from Nashville. And then a 28-year-old in Leon Gawank. He's a 2.5-star defenseman. Doesn't look like anything I need. I mean, after all, we just got Ivan Provorov, so I think we're good there as well. And I doubt a 2.5-star defenseman would want to be a backup player, so yeah, that's not going to work. Since Vegas is willing to give us a 2.5-star player, let's see if they'll give us something of equal value. Let me just see if I can get a 3rd back. I think that'd be reasonable for Bystedt at this point. And it's a bit unfortunate because he had a lot of potential at one point. I believe he was a 5-star at one point, but then it very quickly dropped off and it resulted in only a 3-star potential. And I don't want that to drop even further for him. And at that point, he basically has no shot in the NHL. So I want to give him a chance somewhere else. So Bystedt to the Vegas Golden Knights for a 3rd. Will they take that? Let's see. I guess in the meantime, I'll discuss a trade with Nashville in case Vegas rejects. Oh, wow. So apparently Vegas loves this trade offer. Bystedt for a 3rd. The Golden Knights GM says that is a great offer. I'm accepting immediately. Oh, well, maybe I should have gotten a 2nd or something back, but oh well. He's already 23. I'm not too sure how much he's going to really grow, so I think a 3rd seems fair. Just get him a fresh start, And since we got Provorov in a trade, there's nothing I really want to do in free agency, so I think that is about it for this offseason. And in the next one, we will start year number 7 with your Nova Scotia Supernovas.